Okay. Hello, everyone, and welcome on ArchiDiaries with yet another exciting interview series that has been titled as Interior Design and Innovation. So, at ArchiDiaries, we believe that the entire field, entire domain of creating built environments, habitats, is a multidisciplinary field. One could look at starting all the way from the city's urban design, architecture, interior design, the furniture, landscaping. There are so many facets to it. All these disciplines come together and sort of facilitate this entire field of what we normally call it as just architecture and design. So we realize that we've been talking enough about architecture, but now we also need to expand our horizon and talk about all the sort of related disciplines that we sort of tend to club them in as interior design. So in this series, we are going to attempt that. We are going to talk to about five different designers, architects, let's say interior designers, furniture designers, lighting design, installation design, furniture design, and we will talk to them. We will know as to what kind of work they do and how do they attempt to bring innovation in the work that they do. So I'm really excited to share that for our first interview in this series, we have multidisciplinary architect Shivani Gour with us. Shivani, welcome on ArchiDiaries.
Thank you, Yas. Thank you, ArchiDiaries team. It's wonderful to be here.
Welcome. Thank you so much for giving us your time. So please allow me to introduce Shivani. Shivani is a multidisciplinary architect focused on people-centric designs. In the last 20 years, she has delivered several projects in the retail, hospitality, corporate, aviation, and museum sector. Shivani believes in a design process that is holistic, inclusive, and culturally rooted in its approach. Other than India, Shivani holds experience in delivering projects in Singapore, US, Indonesia, Maldives, and Sri Lanka. Currently at Gensler, Shivani leads the lifestyle studio, which has been winning several international awards in the design world. Through her work, she continues to explore the influence of design on the way people experience and interact with the environment. Shivani, it is really great to have you here. And can we please have your presentation? The stage is all yours.
Thank you, and welcome everybody, all the viewers who are watching this right now. It's really a pleasure to be able to connect with so many people through this platform. So, thank you, Ayaz, for organizing this. I will, just as the title suggests, it is about design and innovation. So, from that bit, I think I would like to just bring the focus to the human experience. And like my introduction also, Ayaz included that I believe in people-centric designs. So this attempt of this presentation will be to focus on creating experiences which are more humanistic and also they transform our everyday experiences as we design. So let me share my screen from here.
Yeah.
Okay, let me know if it is visible.
Perfect.
Okay, great. Well, so like I said, this is, and I'm really sorry, I'm right now logged in from home, so there might be some background aircraft sounds also from behind. Please excuse for that. Well, here, so the title suggests experience that transforms everyday experiences. So design has immense power to do that. That's what I believe, and I think it's how we go about designing and how we take up the process is what determines the outcome, whether it is able to make that meaningful impact to human lives or not. So today, what I'll be focusing on is what are these trends, or what are these different clues that can actually help us make our designs more valuable and meaningful for the end user as well as for our clients. But in general, what I'm trying to get to is understand what makes people tick. This is, I'm just putting it candidly out there. Finally, it is all about people. Finally, we are designing for people. And that's what I just want to keep that underlining um, uh, uh, goal in mind always. The purpose of design is to serve human life, and hence the people are the center of all this talk. Going further to that, one of the things I think that I think where the design is headed, where the future is headed. In fact, we are already in that future. Is where everyone is trying to do everything, everywhere, and it is really the blur in the spaces that is making spaces more enriched and more more of use and of better use for our users. So this is a new trend that is coming up, which is which we have noticed, for a lot of our clients, it is making it more and more, uh, um, I would say, efficient usage of spaces if we are able to offer that kind of flexibility in providing functions which are more blurred and mixed into each other. So no more office is just an office, a home is just a home, or retail is just a retail. It's an attempt of every human these days to be able to dabble between more and more spheres of lives that they are touching at every moment. So multitasking is I think it's just become a norm for all of us, and it's important as designers that we design for our users to enable them in doing so. Here is a little bit of data, that backs these kind of findings, and this all is fed in from Gensler's Research Institute. So you will see that for every finding that we are projecting here, we are showing the database from retail sector, from public spaces, the different projects that we have handled there, and also from the workplace sector. So you can see on the screen right now, this documents the different aspirations, expectations that people have, when they are in a retail space. And you can clearly see that from having fun to socializing, to seeking inspiration and doing something exciting, taking time to unplug, taking a class, trying something new. These are just different things which are beyond the task that is assigned to a specific space. And people have rated, what their expectation was. So from a retail environment, you can see how much varied their expectations are and how much they are trying to achieve from that very one single space. Similarly, for public space, that's even more diverse, and that is even more demanding on that space, because now the reasons behind experiencing that space are they are quite multidimensional, and hence the need to design for a variety of expectations there. Same for the workplace. So like I said, the workplace is no more a workplace anymore. The idea is to be able to do more and more from that very office space itself. This goes out to say a very important message for all of us as interior designers, that we build in this kind of a approach which allows our users to achieve what they are aspiring for. The other finding, from this entire research on understanding experiences, that single-use spaces are just absolutely obsolete. It's sort of an outcome of the previous finding that we've already spoken about, but primarily we are saying that that people who do more than one activity in a place rate their experiences significantly higher and are more likely to report it as their favorite place. So to connect more and more with the people, it becomes even more important that we elevate their experiences by building in this kind of a variety. The same thing we can see, how in the retail sector, these experiences, when they are multimodal, how many people are really liking that, and they are, they are supporting the idea that the future retail should also be like that. So we found that there were 64% of retail visitors who do multiple activities while they are there, and they are willing to spend more time if there is similar multimodal of experience offered in other spaces. Similarly, for public spaces, you will see that this percentage is steep. It is 94% of public space visitors do multiple activities while they're there. And workplace, it's quite a surprise that 98% of the workplace a user, is actually invested in doing more and more other activities, that is non-work activities at the work front. So again, just going saying the same input of building in more and more multimodal experiences while we're designing is one of the keys to a successful design outcome. Another thing is that the aspect that humans are social animals. I think that's probably the first line we are taught when we're taught about human beings, and that piece is not going anywhere. So it's becoming even more and more important now that we integrate social behaviors in the way we design, whether it'll be any kind of space that we're talking about. The more the opportunities for people to connect and form communities and being able to have social interactions through different platforms. Social interactions can be at different scales. It can be in a group of one or two people, or just larger groups or teams, or as big as community gatherings. But whatever the scale and level of that interaction is, it is important to build it into our spaces. And the same kind of data findings, I will show you a glimpse of that then in retail, which is it's a core sector where it's highly transactional, in its nature. Even in that, the aspiration from the user is to be able to have some kind of a social bonding or a connect with their family or their friends. So that social aspect of experience is an important, really integral piece of designing those spaces. Similarly, for public spaces, I think everybody probably would be expecting the public spaces to enable that kind of social behavior. And even in workplaces, there might be an understanding that people would be coming to work more for focus and task-based time that they are spending. But you see here, 49% of US workers socialize with colleagues outside of the office. And that also goes to say that there is a lot happening within the office spaces. So that's another finding where the future of design is headed. This is really interesting, that it's the in-between time, which was always seen as transition or transportation or circulation. Those kind of spaces were seen as seen as areas that were even taken out of the efficiency of the space, and the space was always assessed and judged on the basis of what is the utility of it, taking away the circulation part. But I think this particular piece goes out to say that these in-between times that are spent in these kind of spaces, they aren't the wasted times. People take time to reflect and unplug, and that is what makes for a better experience. This has also gone to show that there are direct business benefits. Employees are more satisfied. Shoppers are often end up making more purchases, if they are given this kind of a relief or these transitional zones where they are, which becomes breathers for enriching their experience. So it's important that now we start also paying attention to these in between times that people spend while walking through our spaces. Here is just a bit of a data finding. You can see here that the light blue indicates people who don't take time to unplug, and there is 78% of people in the retail area who take time to unplug. That's a huge, substantial percentage that cannot be left unaddressed. So this is an important piece to design for. Something similar for public spaces as well. 82% of them had a great experience when they were given time to unplug. And likewise, for workplace, 67% of people, when they were given the time to unplug, they were able to have a more elevated experience out of these spaces. Okay. Okay, I think I'm just going to skip this and go to the next finding. Of course, I think none of us can ignore technology. Thanks to technology, I'm getting to connect to so many at the same time. But it's important that we understand what does technology mean when it comes to designing spaces. Is it just digital screens that make their appearance all throughout the wall surfaces, ceiling surfaces, wherever you want, they may be appearing. But is it really something that can be used as a tool to understand and make our spaces even more efficient? And I think this is where it's important now as designers to understand the potential of technology. It's immense, and in fact, it's getting more and more. The whole world is so highly digitized. It is over digitized, in fact, and people are looking for more human experiences and less digital, because we are always thrown with screens, from mobile screens to TV screens to monitors, and we're always engulfed in our screens. Sorry, and so it becomes even more important that our spaces are able to offer that kind of a relief time where this over digitization can be experienced in a reversed form, and it can bring a more humanistic experience. And that's why technology does come into play, not as digital screens, but more as embedded technologies, which can help understand how the spaces can be more efficient. This can come through occupancy sensors, through light programming, the circadian rhythm of lights, or it could even be by being able to monitor the footfall in a retail store, or being able to check for in a workplace, which areas are being utilized at what time, and being able to bring down the power usage of that space, and so on. I mean, I think I can just go on and on for all the usage that technology can bring, the value that technology can add. And I think it's important we build it into our designs. Okay, I think I don't have to talk more about this. You can start, I guess. You can see what the data is looking like for retail. Places with latest technology, people are getting a far higher level of experience. 76% had a great experience, so that's a huge difference from 39% who where there wasn't the latest technology and people had a good experience. So there is the probability of achieving a great experience by embedded technology sorry, is a lot more. Same for public spaces and workplaces. So definitely, you can see here that a huge percentage of the users is much more satisfied from their experience of that space if there is latest technology embedded in them. Now, this is my favorite one. Experience is emotional, and so is design. I think it's important that not only we as designers connect with our users and our clients and customers and their needs, but it's not just need focused, but it is also to do with understanding their emotional requirements. And so the design also, the outcome also has to be able to connect and and communicate with its users, catering to the different emotional needs. Now, the question is, how does design create a great experience? Tapping into emotions, yes, it's a big component of being a human by itself. So, it's important that we design where we are able to generate positive emotions, which in turn can drive experiences and more engagement. So this is a step further, beyond experience is really engagement. And it's not just offering an experience, but being able to form a relationship while somebody is going through a space and experiencing what has been created by you, and starts to get engaged through it. So I think if we have that in mind, that what we are building in through our design solutions is engagement, that will be a further, much more greater goal to achieve. And of course, keeping those intentions pure and sincere in our processes while we are designing. It's an important thing while we do so. I think the, uh, the very subtle things that design can do is actually quite powerful, because these are mediums through which humans are walking day in and out, and looking at spaces as mediums to convey messages is that could be the start of the relationship with the space and with the user. I think this sort of touches the same aspect that I just spoke about, that finally it is about community and social connection, and hence making every place feel like a public space adds to the success of that space. So that's it from me. I hope this becomes somewhere useful in your processes, and adds some value in what you are creating. And I guess this also makes for a better design in future. Thank you, Ayaz.
Thank you, Shivani. Yeah, I think you can stop sharing the screen so that we can have the discussion. Yeah, I think there are some really interesting points that you actually talked about, and in fact, there are 4 or 5 things that you actually touched upon, and one could actually elaborate, take one thing in isolation and talk about it at length. For example, just a small thing like about the multitasking that you talked about, such an important thing for designers. So the fact that we see the kind of programs that are already coming up, for example, like the studio apartment, is where you're talking about living and working together. When we talk about, let's say, the kind of co-working spaces that are coming together. Now, these are also programmatically, they offer you the opportunities to do multitasking. You are not, if I talk about, let's say, the co-working space, I'm not going there just to work, but I'm also going there to networking, to meet other people and to socialize. So, in terms of program, I think already we are seeing that there are these expressions, the fact that you cannot just have one simple static program and you can have it, but you got to have a program that offers you that possibilities of multitasking are evident. What a question that I wanted to ask you is, in terms of design, how does it translate? Through what kind of design approaches, to what kind of design decisions that you bring on board to so that the design offers you these opportunities to do the multitasking.
Mhm. Yeah, I think what matters is, again, like I said, if our approach is more human centered,
Hmm.
and human beings are not, we have to come out of that mindset of, we're not robots, we can't just stay in one mode. Human beings have a natural tendency, to be able to dabble into different moods, different modes, different emotions, and that's like a typical day. We all go from one point to the other, and we are sometimes in 2 3 moods also at a time. So it's not just about moods, but also the overall need is always shifting. Um, um, and and more because of, our urban lifestyle is that demanding, that it asks for that much from each one of us. So if we are keeping our approach, um, with um, with people in the center of it, I think that will automatically inform us about what the needs are. And definitely, multimodal, like the name suggests, one of the things that can enable that is building in flexibility in the spaces. Now, it's easy to just say build a flexible space, but that also calls for um, flexibility through a lot of services that put together the space. For example, lighting. There has to be enough amount of variety and flexibility built into the lighting system, which allows for that different activities to take place. Similarly, HVAC, air conditioning wise, the needs may change from one function to the other function, and so there should be enough of a range provided so that a space is more efficient when it moves from one function to the other function. So I guess it is not just for designers, but the entire construction industry, every vendor, every consultant, and every engineering discipline that goes into building these spaces, to building that flexibility to allow for this multimodal function.
Yeah. So in a way, this social behavior that you talked about, the second point, is pretty much part of this whole process, that you are trying to accommodate as many possible different social behaviors and come up with design solutions. So it's not necessary that a workplace is just a workplace, but the way it's designed, it's catered to the various needs. Maybe I just want to informally sit in a corner and have a meeting. So now these are the kind of diverse opportunities that this offers. You talked about the research at the Gensler Institute, and Gensler has a research institute. So there's a lot of innovative ideas that are new, and there's an aspect of research, finding out what people are looking for, how people behave. So how do you think research is an integral part in what happens at Gensler?
Yes, well, it's really interesting and quite uncommon thing that a firm will invest almost 18% of our profits back into research. So it's a substantial share that a firm genuinely believes in investing back, so that we are informing our clients even better, and we are ourselves informed better when we go and design for our clients. So uh, what happens is that we are the Gensler Research Institute is constantly working and coming up with findings and outcomes that can that are the need of our customers and clients who are looking for solutions that support their businesses. So it is not just about how the user experiences, but it is also about how our clients can make more efficient business, and then how we as designers can help them achieve those goals. So what happens is that every year there are several research grants which are given to carry out market research and different kinds of researches which can inform these kind of information about our customers' businesses. And these findings are made public after in that research. for our clients to use and for us to use in our future. Plus, researches that happen in different practice areas. So it is not just about generic design processes, but it is also about understanding each and every practice area that the firm holds experts of, and so they conduct these researches to make more deep, to have a more deep understanding of their practice areas. But primarily, in the overall design process, we are encouraged to interact and collaborate with our clients, because certainly the clients know their business the best. It's not like designers know it all. That's never the truth. It is for us to understand the designs, to understand the clients, and really get on their side and become their trusted advisors and partners in achieving their goals. So that's always the attempt in our processes, that we collaborate more and more with our clients.
That's wonderful, Shivani. So, I was just thinking that can you tell us something about your career and your journey as a designer to a point where you are now a studio director at Gensler? So, we have a lot of students and they sort of look out at various career options. So, just to sort of share your journey from where you started and then how you sort of got associated to Gensler and came and spoke to us at ArchiDiaries. So,
okay. Yeah, sure. Well, what's wonderful is that ArchiDiaries Connect is with SEPT. That's where my dive in this profession started. Yes. I come from a joint family upbringing, and that always had a very strong social background around me. I think that the family somehow, the whole upbringing has always kept the focus on what people may want, the sensitivity towards people's needs, and so on. So I think that's something that just, and I inherently, I received it because of my upbringing. I did my schooling in a convent in Delhi, and then from there I came to SEPT in Gujarat, and I think I always carry a little bit of that Gujarati in me. I think it will always stay with me. I find many a times I find myself more of a Gujarati than a Delhiite. But I think now I have traveled around quite a lot, and I have delivered several projects throughout the world. So finally, what matters is that as a designer, if you're able to bring more universality in your design, at the same time build in some equity as well, your designs are more successful. But going back to my journey, I graduated from SEPT, and then I came back to Delhi, where I worked with some really very, very nice architecture and interior design firms. Just to name a few, there was Pradeep Sachdeva, and there was also Hirsch Bedner and Associates, and so dabbled through a lot of variety of projects that through these different wonderful firms, and in that process, hospitality, aviation, retail, and a little bit of education has been my interest. I have done some workplace as well, but I have just loved the variety. I have always what has excited me is being able to go on and take an absolutely new format, new unique challenges, and going for it. So somehow I just never could become a deep expert of one one particular field, but just kept experimenting and kept working with all different opportunities that came along. And I think after about 10 years of practicing in Delhi, I moved to Bangalore, and then I worked in another firm where I did a lot of airports and some other types of spaces as well. Okay. And now I'm in Gensler for about 5 years, heading a studio, which also it specializes in interiors. So it's about 20 years of interiors experience, and I think for me, what matters is that we go on exploring, and I don't think that ever ends. So no matter how many retail projects I must have done, it doesn't matter. Whenever there is a new one, I'm always nervous, being able to um, just trying to see how best can that particular project's need can be met. So it's nice to have these buckets, but really every project is unique. It's very difficult to even categorize them. Like I've spoken, the solution lies in the blur. It's no more retail or school or anyone. It is every project is coming with its own unique opportunity.
That's
Yeah, Shivani, I'm sorry. There's some power issue and I got disconnected. I'm terribly sorry.
No worries.
But anyways, I think I've been enjoying the conversation since, and I won't be able to turn my video on. But it was fantastic to know about the all the processes. I have lots of questions. I don't know how much time do you have. If you allow us, then maybe we can have some more couple of questions. So
Sure. Well, we are just 40 minutes down, so there are still a few minutes. We can absolutely happy to take it.
no, I think I was quite fascinated with the technology part also that you just mentioned as part of your presentation. Now, when we talk about the technology, normally uh, there are two aspects to it. One is the parametric, and people are trying to explore with, I mean, what you call the screen part of it, something that is visible, okay, in different ways, and that's one part of it. But what you touched upon was the all those processes by which you actually embed the technology in the spaces. So about the smart building systems, smart lighting systems, and all those data-driven processes that you sort of bring in to enhance the performance. I think can you elaborate on to some example as to how do you sort of bring this in your work?
Sure. See, first, I would say I would start by the role of an interior designer. Um, we are not technology experts. I really want to give due credit to the technology experts here. Who are the ones who can bring these kind of solutions and inform the interior designers to embed it into our systems. Now, as interior designers, we are at our best when we collaborate. We are at our best when we integrate. So, as collaborators and integrators, it is the onus lies on us to allow for that kind of integration to happen. We have to work with a lot of other partners. So it's design is never a single person's creation. It's an effort of a massive collaboration that happens throughout the process, and technologists are very much partners in this creation. I think. Just as technologists, same for artisans. I mean, there's just so many people who are so instrumental in creating an experience that we aim for. So I like to think of it more like we as the directors of the film, and then there are all these specialized people who come together to make a wonderful film together. I think. Sorry, I have just gone on a tangent, on not really answering your question on the technology front, but yeah, primarily, I think I'm not the right person to answer what all technology can offer. But just having dealt with it, I know there is immense potential, and we have to be working with our partners to understand what more can be achieved.
So, like the Gensler has like a multidisciplinary sort of teams. There's a range of things that Gensler does, starting all the way from the urban design cities up to the brand design and digital experience. So, I'm sure I think the being in a firm like that helps you tap on various the expertise based on the project. So, how does this multidisciplinary fact that you are a part of, in a firm which has a lot of these multidisciplinary teams, help you in gaining these experiences in your design?
Yes, it's a wonderful thing to have so many experts in different fields, all available, all easily accessible, part of the same firm. So uh, it's an amazing power to have. And also when we go out and talk to our clients, we know that when we are saying something, we have the right expertise sitting in house, which can absolutely achieve whatever the client may be looking for. So it's a great power to have. And the way the firm is structured, the way our processes are structured, we um, we encourage a lot of collaboration. In fact, to the extent that every project has a multi office team, or multi, like, inter-regional and inter-office teams is the normal structure of delivering any project. So this is something, it's in the DNA of the firm that we collaborate with all offices, different experts sitting in different parts of the world, um, purely based on what the need of the project may be. So um, whatever the project may need, whatever kind of expertise the project may need, the whole firm is structured that we can easily connect with these experts to plug them in the team.
Yeah, that's great. I think, and see, this series is, since we are actually trying to understand and the field of interior design, and also not just the interior design, all the fields, particularly more with the design field, is that you are constantly trying to keep yourself updated with the new tools, the new materials, the new technologies that are constantly coming up in the market, right? And it is so much necessary for you to keep updating yourself with this database, the new tools, and the part of the innovation, I think, is that also. So what, to the young designers who might be watching this, what is the message that you would like to give in terms of how do you see the innovation, in the design, particularly in the interior design projects?
I think the world is ever changing, and we can never learn one formula which can apply throughout our lives, to our design. From when I was learning and I was part of the graduation, what we were taught was to believe in the process and be sincere in it. If we are doing so, if we are mindful of what is the context, what is the user, what is the need, and what is the requirement, if we have the focus there, and then we are genuinely trying to solve for those requirements and those challenges, um, I think I think that process is what will inform that what whether the solution is appropriate or not. It's I think we many a times we jump on the conclusion way too soon. Many a times we get fixated by whatever solution or whatever first few thoughts that may come to us, as that being the great idea. But no idea is cooked enough, unless it goes through a lot of eyes and a lot of hands and a lot of perspectives are added to it. So I guess if we are more and more inclusive in our processes, there is a say given to everybody who is involved in that process. Even a mason on the site, even a carpenter on the site can actually inform you to make your design lot more efficient. One has to be able to allow for that kind of a dialogue to happen, allow for people to have a say in that process, and make it a very everybody's design, not your design.
Thank you so much, Shivani. I think uh, it was wonderful talking to you, and I must apologize for the small goof up technology that happened, and I'm not able to uh, turn on my screen, and must apologize to the people who are also viewing this. But it has been fantastic talking to you, and it's a very interesting beginning to this series where we are trying to understand, how does this aspect of innovation is what are the different ways in which people are trying to do something different or to innovate in the field of interior design. It was very good to interact with you and to go through your presentation. Thank you so much for giving us your time.
Thank you.
Likewise, and thank you everybody for your time. Thank you.
So, Ashna, I think maybe you can conclude. So, because I may not be able to share my screen
Sure,
or.
sure. So thank you, Shivani, once again from everyone at ArchiDiaries. And I would also like to thank everyone who joined us for this interesting session. We have a series of interviews lined up over the next weeks on every Tuesday at 4 p.m. on our YouTube and Facebook channels. You can subscribe to us on YouTube and Facebook to get updates and notifications. And we are looking forward to have amazing and interesting conversation around interior design and innovation in the future. And once again, thank you, Shivani.
Thank you for making me part of ArchiDiaries, and I'll be looking forward to the next series of lectures. Thanks.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Bye.